Hold on a moment, please. Yay. Hello, happy afternoon to you. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. It is very windy, but sunny and beautiful. I believe a cold front is being ushered in. Chances of frost tonight, but it's going to be, it's just beautiful to look out the window and just see our beautiful greens, and I have a red maple, so some red leaves, and just waiting to see if we have some people decide to join us today. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Joanne Hewins. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I have a blog called lovetocreate.typepad.com, and I'd love for you to visit my blog. I work very hard on it, as everyone who has one does, I guess, but I'm very proud of it. Today we are going to be making a bag and a card to match. Will be, hey Jean, I was just worried that I wasn't coming through, so good to see you on here. But anyway, we're going to make a card and a bag to match, and we're going to be using the True Love Designer Series paper, and that is found in the January-June mini catalog. So let me say, in the past, our spring catalog and our annual catalog both came to a close at the same time. But Stampin' Up has changed and had the launch of the annual catalog come a month earlier than usual. So we still have through the end of June for all of the products that are in the January-June catalog. And it's hard for me to get my mind wrapped around that because I'm so used to them going out at the same time. But we still have 2 good months, May and June, to use the products from that catalog. So keep that in mind. Hey, Tina. I love black and white. And when I saw this paper in the January-June catalog, I had to have it. And I didn't think ahead of time to the fact that I really wasn't having classes at the time. And I ordered 2 packs because I loved it so much and I have a lot left. So we're going to be using this paper. I'm going to start with the card. And the card, I have to give thanks to Lori Meyer. We had a Saturday, this past Saturday, where different people in the North Carolina demonstrator group did little presentations, and Lori did a presentation using this kind of card, and I have copied her because I just thought it was such a good idea. And this is a trifold, and it uses the Designer Series paper. So let's get started with that. And I'm going to bring my trimmer in and tell you that this paper was cut at 5.5. I've already done some of the work for it, so I'm going to bring in the paper and just lay it in here, and you can see that I cut that at 5.5, so it's 5.5 by 12. 5.5 by 12. And then we did a score line at 4. Let me bring my cutter down here. A score line at 4. And then what I did, you could also do a score line at 8, but instead I just turned it all the way around and did a score line at 4 again. So this card is going to be just a little bit narrower than a regular card would be. It's going to be 5.5 by 4 rather than 4 1/4. But that's okay. We can mail it still and do the things that we want to with it. Now, I used some of the Granny Apple Green and the Pool Party and blenders, and I added some color to the card that I have already made. You can see the green, I think. The blue might be a little harder to see, but I'm going to tell you I didn't like it. So I'm not going to do that on the next card. We'll just see how we like them compared to each other. But we are going to be doing the other things in here. So to start off with, I cut a circle in my paper. And this is going to be on the front panel of the card, the front panel, and I'm going to use the second largest circle in the stitched shapes. So I pulled it out so that only this layer was there. This, you could pull it out all the way, or you could bend this one back. And then I sent that through the cut and emboss machine as is, and removed that circle. So that's how I got that. Sadly, the stitch shapes are retiring, and so they, I don't know if they're still available or not. I think there's been a little bit of question about that. But anyway, if you don't have them, you might want to get them if they're still available, because they're wonderful. Now, we're also going to add a frame around this, and I chose to use the diagonal paper that we have, and to get the frame, I used the large circle and then the second largest circle. And I'll just lay it on this paper to show you what it would look like. So you would lay it with one inside the other. Now you might want to use some washi tape to hold it in place as you go through, but you just cut both of these out at the same time, and then you'll end up with your center and you'll end up with the frame. So that's how I did that, and you're going to need 2 of the frames. 2 of them. So let me move that out of the way. And for the first frame, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Okay, Tina and Jane, I'm so glad that you joined me today. I appreciate it. Okay, and I'm just going to put this frame right around here. I just added a little bit of our all-purpose, multi-purpose liquid glue. Okay, and so there we go with the front part of that. Now, when you close this piece right here, if it's not going to fold, this one folds fine, but if it's not going to fold easily, take this to your trimmer and just take a tiny little smidgen all the way down, and then that's going to help it to fold the right way. Okay? Now I'm using, with this card, the stamp set Flowers of Friendship. And I'm using that to stamp the section that's going to go right in here. So I've already done it, but I used the Thank You for Everything stamp set. I kind of like the way that block letter and the cursive writing go in there together. And that's going to go right in here so that when you open the card, you have your saying right there. But you need to know where to put it so it's going to line up. To do that, you're going to do it with your card closed. And then I'm just going to put some of the liquid glue on the back of that. And with it closed, I'm going to add it right in here. So you want to try to get your writing straight. And then when you open the card, that's exactly where it needs to be. Okay? So that's how you're going to do that. And then we're going to add the second frame that I had ready to around this. So let me add a little bit of glue around here. You want to be kind of light with your glue. So you don't want big globs to press out everywhere. And then that's going to fit right around the circle. So now you have your frame on there. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the inside of the card, and then we'll do our decorating of the front. So in this one, this card measures actually 3 3/4 by 5. I decided that it needed to be a little bit bigger. So to get this in this section, it's going to have to be the 3 3/4. But I left this one a little bit longer so that it filled up the space a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and stamp the many thanks from all of us. We'll be using Memento Black for that. And we'll stamp that up here near the top. And then to decorate the bottom, we're going to add a few flowers. Now I felt like a good use of our paper would be to use some of the flowers that are on the edge. So I think I'm going to use these right here that are on the corner of this older sheet. And I'm going to bring in my pool party. I'm going to bring in a blender brush. Now this is one that I already had that I was using with blues. These are the Stampin' Up blender brushes. I think they might be on back order right now, but you can see how they compare. This one's a little smaller, and I love them. But I'm going to continue with this one since I already had that color. And I'm going to just get a little bit of that off, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of color right in here. It's not going to color it really good. It's certainly not perfect, but it's good enough. And then I'm going to bring in this dauber. It's a little bit smaller, and get a little bit of this green on the leaf. So I'm just being, not perfect with that. So now I'm going to get my scissors and just cut that out. And it certainly doesn't have to be perfect. Remember though that this is going to go on a white background, and so your cuts are not going to show very much because it will be a white on white kind of thing. So anyway, sometimes you tend to throw away these pieces that are sticking out on the corners that are cut off, and I thought this would just be a way to use those. So I've got that cut out. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on that cutout, and then I'm going to add it to my piece here down in the corner. The glue gives you a little bit of give, so you can kind of move your stuff around the way you want it. And then we'll be putting this layer on the inside of the card. So that part will be considered done. It's a little bit hard to see the score lines on this. just make sure it's going to bend. So there you've got that and that. That was pretty fast and pretty easy, wasn't it? Okay, so I'm going to work now on this little inside part right here, and I'm going to put a flower there. Let me bring in my scraps again, and I just want a whole flower. I think I'm going to pick this one since part of that is off, and I'm just going to cut the flower part of it. So let me just color that. And I don't need to worry about coloring the leaves at all, because I would cut them off. So let me cut around this flower. I'll be using this paper to do some more of these. So you can kind of just use what flowers you have available and make them look however you want. Okay, so I'm just going to cut around here. And I'm just going to keep cutting on around and cut off those leaves. Okay, we've got that, and I'm just going to glue this flower up here underneath our words. Okay. And then when someone has the card closed, it's going to look like this. When you open it, you'll see another flower there. So there's that. And now we need to work on this front part. So let me move that aside. I'm going to bring back my card that I had, and I'm going to do, I think what I did was these two. So I'll just do the same ones. Let me, there it is. I couldn't find my sponge dauber there for a moment. So I'm just going to color in these leaves. You can see I'm just doing it quickly. Of course, they would look pretty if you took blends or something like that and colored those in. It would be really, really pretty. But this is trying to get it done kind of work today. Okay, so we'll cut those out quick. Hopefully we'll get them cut out pretty quickly, and we'll be ready to go onto the bag. So I'll get that one. And that. And move these out of the way. Just a little easier to cut when you have a smaller piece. And I'm not even going to cut these out really, really carefully. Just okay, you guys are awfully quiet today. What's going on with you? What are you working on? What are you making? What stamp sets are you using? Okay, so there's one. Oh, thank you, Jane. Did you watch Lori Meyer's presentation on Saturday? Hi Sue, how are you? I know you watched Lori's presentation and I'm copying her with my card today. I just thought that was so pretty and such a good way to use up some of your paper. I tend to have lots of paper left over. It's hard to cut sometimes, isn't it? Okay, I'll get this done in a minute. There you go. And we'll be adding these with dimensionals. Yeah, it's her card was just so pretty, and I thought it was such good use of paper. And I'm so happy we're doing those things with the North Carolina group. Okay, I'm going to add dimensionals, and I don't want to get them up over this opening here, so I'm just going to kind of look and see how I'm doing. Okay, I think that'll work, and then I can add some in there if I need to. So this one, I'm going to put kind of like that. Yeah, that'll work. And then this one, I'm going to add. And what I did was I ended up putting a little bit of glue there and then some dimensionals out this way. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I'll have to send Lori a picture of my card because I do want her to have the credit that she deserves. Okay, there we are. Let's make sure this will open. Uh-oh. I do have a little bit of a dimensional sticking out. Let's see if I can push it down in there. Or give it a haircut. I'm going to work on that a little bit later. I'm not going to make you all watch me. Well, I may have it. Okay, so there's the card. And again, Lori Meyer gets the credit for showing the North Carolina demo group her idea of using up some of the paper. There's the two cards. And now we're going to work on a bag to match the cards. Oh, let me ask you. On this one, I did the coloring on the paper back here. This one, I decided not to. I know which one I like best, but what do you like best? Do you like it with the coloring on it or without the coloring on it? Tell me what you think. Okay, and meanwhile, I will bring out the bag again. This is what we're going to be making. And for this, I'm going to give credit to Poodles out of the UK, and that's Sam McDonald. She made this on one of her videos recently, and I thought that it was also a good use of our cardstock, or not cardstock, our designer series paper. I like it better plain too, Jean and Tina. That's why I decided not to do it on this one. So this paper is cut at 12 by 8.5, and I haven't done the scoring on it yet, so I'm going to do that with you. And I will have a blog post up on Saturday for this, and I'll have all of the measurements on there for the card, the trifold card, and also for the bag. So I'm going to place this with the 12-inch side to the top, and make sure I've got my score thing here. And I'm going to score that at 2. You can see I've got some of that colored already. 2, 5 3/4, 7 3/4, and 11 1/2. Poodles or Sam McDonald does a lot of boxes. That's kind of her thing, I think, or 3D items. And she's a really neat person to watch. And then I'm going to turn at 180 degrees and score again at 2. Okay, so that's our scoring that we needed to do. So let me get my bone folder and I'll burnish those lines for us. It's hard to see where the scoring is, especially on something like this. So I'm just kind of feeling for it. There's another one in there. There it is. And then this one at the end. Yeah, so sometimes you think you have bright ideas and they just don't come into fruition, and that's why I thought I don't like that I colored that. And truthfully, this is not my favorite kind of way to color this paper, but I just thought I would share that it is a way that it can be done. So I've burnished all of my scenes, and I'm going to go ahead and color in, and I did re-ink my paper, my pad, so hopefully that'll go a little faster. I see it's a little bit darker. And maybe I should have colored that before I did the seams, but it'll be fine. But this is an easy way to add your color. And not get bogged down by all of the flowers on here. Think how long it would take to color with your blends. To do all of that would just be a big time-consuming thing. And then what are they going to do? Throw the bag away? I hope not. But but anyway, so we'll finish these up. Okay, that's taking a little longer than I had hoped. But here we go. And I think you can see, yes, you would need to do your coloring before you burnish your lines, because you can see that line there. And I don't think I'm going to worry too much about those little flowers coming up. And now we'll do our leaves quickly, and we can go ahead and fold up our bag. You see, that doesn't take long at all. And so it's kind of a messy look, but that's it. All right. I might have missed something. If I did, it'll be all right. Okay, I'm going to cut along the score lines. I'm going to cut kind of a little angle and cut this part off of the bottom right here, and then we'll cut on these lines up to that 2-inch score line. Okay, that's all of the cutting we have to do. And we will take some tearing tape and put that on this tab right here. Hold on just a moment. Okay, and I'm going to put it near this seam right here, or that fold right there. Hi Faith, how are you? Good to see you today. I wondered where you were. Okay, so I'm going to put this along here. I would much rather cut tearing tape than tear it. Okay, and then we'll take that off. And I'm just going to fold that like this and fold this over. Now we want where this seam is to be the back of our bag. This is going to be the front then. So I'm going to fold that piece last. I'm going to put these inside, and then I'm going to add the tearing tape along the edge here. And then I'll put it on down this way too. Well, actually, I put that on the wrong end because I want this one to tear, so it won't matter. But I'll go ahead and stick this one down, and then we'll put the tape on the other one. You really wouldn't have had to put the tape on that one. We'll fold that back over this way. So let me add more tearing tape. It should be secure on the bottom, shouldn't it? You know, Faith, you could move here. I was just reading your comment about wishing you lived closer. I'll always be here. I never got too far from where I grew up, probably less than 10 miles away. So I'm just a North Carolina person. Okay, so here is the bag, and trying to see where my seam is. I believe this is my front, and I'm just going to take it and push it in there, and that makes the closure to the bag. So you could add whatever you want in there, and we'll talk about how we're going to close it. So I'm going to maybe just use my bone folder to get that down, and we're going to be using, I don't know that that matches so much. This was in the fall catalog. I think it was the August-December catalog. And I never did get it, and then they carried it over, and then they put it in our new catalog. So I thought, well, I'm going to order that. I'm going to order that paper, that ribbon. It was with Halloween, but it's a wonderful ribbon, and so that's what we're going to use. And I don't really know how long to cut it. I think I'm just going to do it like that. We'll hope that that will work. I am not one of those people that can tie a bow while it's still on the bolt. That's not me. So I'm going to tie this. Let's see if those are not quite the same, but I'm going to tie this, And do I dare? No. I'm going to, I don't like to tie bows where people can see me. I always use one of those bow tire gizmos, but I'm going to put a glue dot right under where I've done this, and hopefully that's going to hold it in place so that I can get this tied. And I think this ribbon is going to be one of those ribbons that is going to look pretty good no matter what you do to it, because to me that doesn't look too bad. So I'm just going to cut this one so that it's about the same length as the other one. Okay, now we are going to add a tag. On this one, I used the stamp set Color and Contour. This one, You're Absolutely Amazing. And then I cut it out with the die, the smallest die here in the Scalloped Contours die set. After I did it, I didn't like the blue. So I decided I would do this tag in the Memento Black. And when you're cutting it out, it may look like it's not big enough. I just did my words. Okay, I just did my words and did it close. And it came out just fine. There was room for everything on there. And then I have pulled out, this ribbon is in the new catalog. I think it's like some that we've had before. It's the Simply Elegant trim, and I'm just going to pull out the silver in that, and I'm just going to get a little bit of that. And what I like is I've got my hole already in here from that die. I love those dies. So I'm just going to run that through, and then I will push that up under there. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie it on. And I think that'll stick fine. I guess that doesn't curl, so I'm going to trim that down a little. I just like those little flecks of silver in there together. And then I'm going to bring just a dimensional to stick under that tag so that it kind of stays where I want it to be. So there, that's it. Oops. The bag comes together pretty quickly. And what do you think? Do you like the black tag or the blue tag the best? Well, I know which one I like. So anyway, here is what we made today. The bag and the tag, you can see the bag really came together quickly and easily. I'll have those measurements on my blog post on Saturday for you. So that's it for today. Just don't forget about the January-June catalog, because even though our annual catalog is about to go away, this one is here to stay until the end of June. So, yes, I agree. I like the black tag better. So we'll go with no coloring on this. Sorry, no coloring on this and the black tag. But here's what they look like together. And I appreciate you watching today. If there are any supplies that you need, I would love to have you order from me. I really need people to order from me. This is the host code if you would like to use it. for any orders that are under $150. And I would just appreciate it if you enjoyed this video, if you would share it and tell your friends about me. I would appreciate it. Hi, Nancy Rogers. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate it, everybody. Love you, and bye-bye.